question you might be avoiding. Do you trust your program to work when you step back? Your clients are getting results, you have the testimonials, and people seem happy enough. And yet you don't fully trust the experience to keep working without you. To take those 2 weeks off for your holiday, maybe just to step back and kind of recalibrate with your family. And a program can produce results, but still feel fragile underneath the surface. That sense that if you step back even a little bit, then things are going to wobble. That sense of if you stop reassuring, then the momentum is going to kind of fall off. Or if you stop nudging, then that silence starts to spread. And you don't want belief to wobble. You don't want your client's self-belief to wobble. So you've become the glue that holds it all together. You're watching engagement really closely. You're in your Facebook group. You're mentally tracking who's doing well and who's starting to drift. You're stepping in early to preempt any issues they might have, explaining things twice or even 3 times, and reassuring people constantly that they're doing well and that they are on track. Not your curriculum, not your support systems, not your progress tracking, but you. You're carrying everything. And a client can be making progress, but still feel unsure. This is normal. They can be taking action and still wondering if they're taking the right action at the right time. They can be doing fine, but still comparing themselves to everybody else. So we know that this uncertainty exists in our programs, and we know how that shows up. It shows up as fewer messages, less visible momentum, that internal doubt that says, am I good enough for this? Am I cut out for this? Can I do this? This feels difficult. And when you care about your work, when you care about your clients' results, this uncertainty starts to seep through to you. And it can feel uncomfortable, but it can also affect your own confidence as well. So your natural instinct is to steady the ship, is to kind of smooth things over, to keep things moving, to add in extra support, to be there, to be the present guide to help your clients. And before you realize it, you are carrying more than you ever planned to. You've added in more accountability, you've added in challenges and gamification and co-working calls and all of these different things in order to drive momentum and to drive motivation, to keep them moving, to keep them taking action. But the reality is that a stable group experience does not rely on motivation. It doesn't rely on this constant reassurance, this constant hand-holding, and your energy as being the fuel for the fire. A stable experience is designed so that clients can see their progress without you there. So you have systems and tools in place that are going to nudge them forward so they can see what the next steps are, keeping them tied closely to their goal. Momentum doesn't depend on their mood. We all know as humans, some days our energy is high, some days our energy is low. What we don't want in our group context is for our clients to start absorbing the energy from other people. And if they see that others are doing better than them, for that to impact their progress. We want to make sure that their self-belief is carried by the experience because they feel capable, they can see where they're going, they can see how far they've come, that we're actually celebrating the progress that they're making, not just their ability to achieve the final outcome. And their confidence doesn't collapse throughout the process, and neither does yours. So when we have an experience that is designed in with intention, this progress, this momentum, this belief, this confidence comes out of that experience design. And this is not about adding more. It's not about always being on. It's not about more calls and co-working and gamification. It's not about those tactics. It's actually about designing for what happens when confidence inevitably dips, because the reality of change is it's difficult. And there are always going to be points in the journey where our clients are going to hit blocks and hit challenges. And we can start to preempt this throughout our programs. There's a natural life cycle, engagement life cycle that our clients go through. And when we're in this messy middle period, there are things that we can spot, emotions that we can spot, signals that we can track that help us to stabilize the experience without having to be reactive, without having to kind of throw stuff at it in the hope that that's going to fix it. And I'm going to be talking about the messy middle in the masterclass and next couple of weeks or so. So if that's of interest, keep an eye on that. So what I want you to do, I want you to sit with some questions to think about your experience as it is. Because if you feel like you are the one that's holding it together, there will be signs through your experience of when this is starting to happen. And then once you've identified those areas, this is when we can start to put things in place, whether that's human support from you, whether that's community support, whether that's tech in terms of AI or automations, or just the content that you're sharing, your curriculum, the expectations that you're setting, how you've mapped out those milestones and shown them what success looks like. So the first question is, where does confidence first wobble if you take a step back? Like, what happens if you don't immediately jump in to rescue your clients? Where do they go? Where do they start to spin? Where do clients need the most reassurance? So at what point in your program do you see that happening? Where are they needing more from you? Because if you know where that's happening, then you can start to plan that in. Where are you actually finding yourself intervening before they ask you to intervene? So where is this a thing that you need to be mindful of yourself, that you're actually leaping into rescue mode instead of giving them agency and ownership of the journey? So knowing that the experience is designed to carry them means that you don't need to immediately jump in, because you have confidence that there are systems in place in the background that will catch them without you having to react. Where is progress hard to spot? So are there stages in the journey where they're putting in lots of work, putting in lots of effort, but the change and the results of that lag behind? Because the problem with any change journey is if we're putting in the effort and we cannot see the change, as human beings, we're much more likely to disengage at that point. So if you know where progress feels hard to spot, if you know that there's a gap between effort and the result, that is a key point in your journey where you can start to manage expectations, normalize the challenge, potentially break down what progress looks like, what that win and outcome looks like, into smaller steps, so they can see that actually things are changing, even if it seems on the surface to be really teeny tiny. And then where does your program rely on you to stabilize the situation? Are there points at which you are becoming the emotional glue? And are there points at which you actually want to be able to let go of that? Is it actually more logistical, where they're asking kind of repeated questions and you're like, actually, I've already covered this. I've already recorded this in my curriculum. I shouldn't have to keep answering these questions that they're asking. Maybe it's that they are automatically defaulting to you as the source of reassurance, when actually there are other tools in place. Like you've got a community, you've got asynchronous support in terms of your community chat threads, but where are they bypassing those systems and actually coming straight to you? And where can you hold tighter boundaries around where they are relying on you to stabilize, if there's already systems in place? And if there aren't any systems in place, what could those be to help to stabilize it? So those are, I think, 5 questions. Where does confidence wobble at the beginning? Where do your clients need most reassurance from you? Where do you intervene before anyone asks? Where are you maybe overstepping and jumping in to rescue them before they actually need it? Where is progress hard to see in terms of the difference between the effort that they're putting in, the results that are coming out? And where is your program overly reliant on you instead of kind of underlying systems to support your clients through the journey? Now, I said at the start, these motivational dips, these challenges, wobbles, doubts, confidence dips, they're all perfectly normal. But if you are finding yourself compensating at the same point in every single journey, for every single client, for every single cohort, then the question that you really need to be asking yourself is like, why am I holding this? Why have I not designed something into my program that is going to carry that? And if you start spotting new patterns with new cohorts, again, you can ask that question. If this is a pattern, why am I holding this? what can I put in place that is going to take the pressure off me to be the stability, and actually have structures and systems in place around that. So that's it for this week.